everyone, and welcome to another episode on the channel. Today we are going to be talking about 5 super profitable Pawn Star deals. But before we get on to that, go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. Obviously, it helps us out a lot. Also, keep watching until number 1 to find out exactly how much has been spent on the show. You would be absolutely shocked at what you find out. So without any further ado, let's get on to the video. Number 5, a 1554 Spanish gold bar from a shipwreck. As it turns out, there were a lot of shipwrecks from the past 600 years, many of which were Spanish. Rick has already bought one from a fleet of ships in 1715, and now is looking at an even earlier piece of history.
I got a gold bar I want you to look at.
What do you think, Pops?
A gold bar that is claimed to have been part of a 1554 Spanish shipwreck.
Well, what you have is definitely coral incrustation. These particular stamps I recognize from the 1500s. This is definitely shipwreck treasure.
Yep, it was from a shipwreck, and he was able to get thousands of dollars from it. The owner acquiring this piece of gold after cleaning his attic and noticing something that was probably worth a good amount of cash. Surely he must have initially thought he just found some piece of scrap, but it was much more than that.
So how much do you think it's worth?
Melt times 2.
After hearing that the meltdown value of it was at $24,000, negotiations began to discuss buying it.
Remember earlier when I said $24,000 in scrap?
Yeah.
Scrap is melt. It's just like a trade term.
So you're telling me that's worth $48,000?
In that neighborhood.
The owner of the bar was offered $35,000 and he took it. It would later turn out to be worth $50,000.
There's probably not a lot of people out there willing to buy this thing, but here's the deal. The people that are willing to spend a lot of money.
Number 4, 2001 New England Patriots Super Bowl championship ring. Former New England Patriots defensive back Brock Williams showed up at the shop one day ready to make a deal for his commemorative 2001 Super Bowl championship ring.
It's an actual Super Bowl ring from the 2001 Patriots versus Rams. One of the players came in here a few years ago, and I bought it off him.
What made this ring so collectible was how ridiculously beautiful it was, covered with 143 diamonds and is made of 14 karat white gold. It was the first time a ring exceeded the NFL's rules on expense limits.
One of the rules is if it's your first Super Bowl ring, it can only be 10 karat, it can only weigh so much, it can only have so much in diamonds. The owner of the Patriots says, we don't give a damn, we'll make them any way we want, and that's why they made this blingy monstrosity.
Rick ended up buying it for $2,000 as collateral for a loan and kept it after Brock never returned to get it. You can imagine Rick's luck at this. It is now worth $100,000.
It's a lot easier than actually winning one, I guess.
Number 3, 200 pounds of silver. The owner Jeff of 200 pounds or 3,000 ounces of pure silver decided it was time to get paid on the investment his father told him about when he was younger.
Hey, what do we got here?
A whole lot of silver.
Let me help you out real quick.
So he wheeled into the shop with sacks and bags of silver. From bars to coins, everything was pure silver.
Most people don't realize until 1964, all U.S. dimes, quarters, half dollars, silver dollars were all made out of silver.
Yes, there were many, and they were also worth a lot, exceeding $100,000. The only issue was a giant silver bar that might have been filled with other metals, so Rick had to test it.
First off, you have to drill deep enough to make sure there's not a lead core or some other metal in the middle of the bar. Then you melt down all the filings. The last step is dropping some nitric acid on it and seeing what color it turns.
Which was cool to see how that was done and find out it was actually the real deal. Finally, the owner was able to cash in on his little inheritance.
You got $46,000 for the coins, $33,390 for these bars right here. 32.39 times 942 equals. So we got a total of $110,901.
The offer then came in for $111,000, but that was the absolute most they could do for the silver because of the limited amount of profit margin it would bring him.
Well, I bought it 12 years ago for way less than that. 111 sounds good to me.
Number 2, Mary Ford's 1961 Gibson SG Les Paul guitar. Guitars have always been one of the more valuable items that come through pawn shops. The ones that date back to the rock era tend to be worth a ton, and always seem to find themselves making it into the shop like this one did. The only difference is that the owner of the guitar showed it to Rick and then said it belonged to his Aunt Mary, and she used to play it with her husband, Les Paul.
Aunt Mary just a guitar fan, or?
No, Les Paul's wife.
Oh, wow.
This belonged to Mary Ford?
Mary Ford.
It was one of those moments that remains one of the greatest in Pawn Stars history because they were looking at a 1961 Gibson SG Les Paul guitar that was played by the wife of the man who created it. It's like having Babe Ruth's grandson bring in a signed rookie card of him. It does not get much better than that.
I don't really have any doubts on this guitar. This is history, dude. It's easily a six-figure guitar.
After an expert confirmed the value of it to be close to $150,000, a deal was made for $90,000. This means that the shop was able to rake in some cool cash.
I just spent 90 grand on a guitar and a stack of papers. That's a ton of money.
Rick and the guys will surely be all smiles. Number 1, the JFK Cigar Humidor. This is one of the most unexpected and strangest items to have come into the shop. Also, it ended up being one of the most profitable items to ever be featured on the show.
I have John F. Kennedy's cigar box he used in the White House.
Wow, Pops, check this out.
Since there are not very many of former President JFK's cigar humidors floating around, whenever one does show up like this, the value of it can be mixed.
And inside are the remaining unsmoked cigars.
Wow, really?
The box even featured some untouched cigars, also belonging to the former president.
The box contains 11 hand-rolled cigars wrapped in clear plastic. What do we got there?
8. There's a few missing.
So someone smoked 3 of the cigars.
Not me. That's how I got it.
But in order to figure out the value, it was going to take a little bit of research. When it showed up at the store, Rick knew he had something of value and had a price in mind.
I'll go 60.
All right, it's all on you. I'm out.
65 and you got a deal.
60 grand. I'll give you 30 now. Give me the rest of the paperwork. I'll give you the other 30.
After some tough negotiations, a deal was made for $60,000. Sotheby's managed to find another one and auction it off for $575,000. Unbelievable. That pretty much means this item is worth every single penny and so much more. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. While you were here, go ahead and click the links above to check out some of our other awesome videos. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you in the next video.